Welcome to my latest Forerunner build, the Hunter. This great build has to be my most adaptable one so far, able to take and hold objectives, wipe out an entire team, and regularly sit at the MVP slot simply by doing a bit of everything. The Hunter is a Valkyrie, and when they say this build is versatile, they aren't kidding. I've struggled to find any big downsides to the class. It's well balanced in all areas and can fit whatever purpose you see fit for it. As the build is so versatile, the playstyle needs to be the same. Don't contain yourself to just going after enemy heroes or capturing objectives. You need to play as a real all-round character to do the best with this build. If your team needs to take an objective, then take it. If it needs to be held, then defend it. And if you need to take out some enemies to even a fight, then do that too. There isn't anything this build can't do, so do a bit of everything. That being said, don't overestimate yourself. Almost every time I died when playing this character was when I made a stupid move and didn't think things through. You can't launch an all-out assault against 3 enemy heroes and expect to come off on top. If you defend and wait for revenge though, then you can. Use all the skills you have learnt from playing so far to use this build to its full potential. The feats of this build are Deadly, Bloodlust, Javelin, and Scout. Deadly is a really nice passive, as it gives you a permanent damage boost. Although nothing exciting, it helps you take out enemies quicker, and ensures you don't have to slowly chip away at the health of every hero. Bloodlust can be a bit of a tricky one, but I feel it's worth it. The feat is a passive, which gives you a temporary boost to your attack and defense, but only after killing a hero. The reason I put it into the build is as it's great for if you get ganged up on, or want to chain kills together. If you can kill a weak enemy quickly enough, then you can get a boost to fight nearby enemy heroes, but you will have a much easier time fighting. In the best of situations, you can consistently chain together enough kills to wipe out the enemy team several times over. The Javelin feat adds some nice range to the build, and is good for securing kills, or for taking out a fleeing hero. You may have noticed from my builds that I love the range damage feats, and the reason for this is that they just do so much damage. They ignore the gear of your opponent, so are great for taking down a heavy chunk of health from any enemy. Even if you don't kill them, you'll put them on the back foot with one single attack. The last feat is Scout. This debuffs all enemies, and marks them on the map. This works great for tracking down the enemy when they're on breaking point, and ensures you can wipe them out before they call enough points back. It's a great feat for ensuring victory, and fits well in the final slot, as you will likely only use it once or twice a match at most. Gear with this build will need to be fairly versatile, so try to not go for any pieces that are too extreme. But you can afford to drop debuff resistance, block damage, and throw distance, as none of these will benefit you too much. Other than that, just go with the best gear you have available to help make the character even more powerful. The Hunter grew up in the harsh cold of Valkyrie, fighting against snow, ice, and vicious creatures for survival. From her earliest memories, she had been taught to fight for survival through the act of hunting. In the world we live in, predator eats prey, and you want to be the wolf, not the sheep. This mindset was a constant reminder to her that the world wasn't going to give her anything on a silver platter, and she would have to shed sweat and blood to live. Even when her family were mauled to death by a bear, she didn't shed a tear, knowing that it was merely a predator hunting for its prey. It didn't stop her from tracking down the bear to its cave though. She entered the dank and dismal alcove in a mountain face, and treaded lightly, not wanting to alert her prey to her presence before it was necessary. She saw the dark figure of the beast sleeping at the back of the cave. It raised its head, sniffing the air, and obviously aware that something was approaching. Before the lumbering creature could fully raise from its slumber, the hunter buried her spear into its side, fatally wounding it, but not killing the beast either. The bear roared in pain and anger, turning to the Viking and swatting at her with its giant clawed paws. She raised her shield to defend herself, but the power of a blow shattered it to pieces. She knew she couldn't overpower the bear, so instead focused on speed, darting from side to side and getting around the creature, tearing her spear free from its side in the process. She launched a flurry of rapid attacks at the beast, slicing into its flesh around the limbs and face, slowing the beast and hoping to blind it. It had worked to an extent, but seemingly realising that it was about to die, the bear reared up and with a deafening roar, fell down towards the hunter like a hammer on an anvil. Not having time to dive out of the way, the Viking warrior raised her spear and tried to shield herself as best as she could from the mass of the bear. Her spear punctured through its skull as it landed atop her, forcing her to the ground and nearly crushing her. It felt like she was stuck under the bear's carcass for millennia, but she crawled free of it, gathered her equipment, and began to drag the body to the nearest village. The villagers were shocked to see the sight of a lone woman dragging a huge bear to them, and this deed led to the hunter becoming a Valkyrie, and fighting in the war against the Blackstone Legion. In memory of her fight against the bear, she wields a shield with the bear's claws attached around it, a constant reminder to her allies of her strength, and a warning to her enemies to not cross her. She will fight with honour and ferocity on the battlefield, displaying the greatest of qualities any Viking warrior can possess. I hope you all liked this build, and if you did, then don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more great content. As a side note, I will say that if you play this build just right, then you can wipe out the enemy team several times over and win the game for your own team. This build has some great potential, but can be tricky to use, so don't let yourself get too angry if you have a bad match here and there. Thank you all for watching, and click on one of the on-screen links for even more great content.